Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Here we are, trying to get things ready and done through this other side. And we are here as the alternative voice. Thanks for joining us live on Facebook. I'm your host, Cleophas Oluoch, and tonight we are talking about serious matters. Yes. And here we are tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here at first with our guest all the way from Moi University, and we're talking about this topic, the state of Moi University, and how we are supposed to understand what has been happening. For your information, Moi University is now on the third or the fourth day of their strike since the teaching staff and non-teaching staff went on strike. So what has been the root cause for this? Some blame the university administration. Some say it's something that comes from the top. So who is to take the whole responsibility? Our students involved with the entire mess. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and join me in this live broadcast from wherever you are. I'm your host, Cleophas Oluoch, and we are live from Nairobi, Kenya. And my guest is joining me. He'll be telling me where is joining me from. My guest tonight is Omar Mohamed. Omar Mohamed, welcome.
Hello.
Omar Mohamed is the Secretary General of Moi University Students Organization. That's MUSO. And so we are here setting up the entire discussion and making sure that we bring this discussion home. So, Omar, karibu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cleophas, for having me here. So I'm Omar Mohamed, currently serving as the Secretary General of Moi University, all campuses. They also refer to me as the Comrades Voice Box, or alternatively, you might use the Comrades Larynx. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Cleophas, for having me here.
Welcome, the Comrades Voice Box. And where are you joining us live from?
I'm joining you guys from Eldoret. I'm in Eldoret right now. Yes.
Haujatoka nje?
No, I'm still within. I'm still within Eldoret. Yes.
Great. And so, Omar, our discussion tonight is revolving around the state of Moi University and why was the university closed and students sent home. So this is a critical matter that has also involved the administration being brought in the picture. Can you describe and paint that picture to our audience tonight?
Actually, this is a very sad state of affair. It's something that up to this minute, we are still in shock, we as students, why that a lecturer strike. It has never happened before that students have had to be sent home. The main reason being that the lecturers are on strike. It has always been the other way around, that the students are the ones on the ground, are the ones partaking in the strike and having to be sent home. But this time round, we actually saw it was so ironical because it's the lecturers who were out there demanding for their rights, and then all that trickled down to the students. So actually, till this minute, we are yet to understand why we are sent home. We are hearing some reasons which I'll call them not substantial enough to warrant us being sent home. Because some of the reason being going around is that given that nothing substantial came out of the discussion between the university management and the stakeholders, which in this case was the WASU. So they feared that there was a lot of uncertainty. They didn't know when exactly this discussion was going to come to an end. So they saw it as the right thing to do, given that some of the staff, the security staff, were involved, though since they're serving as part of the essential services, they were still in work. But you'll find that the mess was closed, the libraries were closed, and all study areas were closed, leaving the students just with nothing to do at all. So that was actually the word going around. But actually, as far as we are concerned, it wasn't substantial enough to make us go home. Yes, Mr.
Mr. Omar, when you're talking about the reason given for students to go home not being substantive, I don't know how it puts you on the image as the student leader. are you involved in these decisions that are made from the administration? You being a SecGen, of course, you sit in that discussion table with the Senate and the top management. At the point when they decide students to go home and the operations within the university are cut and they're not really running in the university and students go home, what's your role as a student leader in all this? Could you have done something?
Actually, this it's a shame to say. It's a shame. It's a shame to say, because this has been happening. This is not the first time. It's not the second time. It has happened quite severally that the university management tends to sideline the student leadership in making such critical decisions. In line with that, now immediately that decision was made. Of course, it didn't augur well with we as student leaders first, given that we were not involved in that major decision, and even in the larger student body fraternity, it was shambolic, I can say. So on our end, what we did actually immediately that happened, I went ahead and reached out to the various stakeholders, right, following the protocol, right from the dean of students all the way to the DVC and to the VC himself. So I had to draft a letter to demand in such a way that next time such decisions are made, we as students need to be part and parcel of that. So in this time case, and which this has been a recurrent case as far as our university management is concerned, in sidelining the student leaders, we just received memos just as other students, which is an embarrassment to us. It's actually something that I should not be talking it about, but that's the truth of the matter.
You being embarrassed about the situation in Moi University makes it messy and chaotic in the students' body. You being a representative and the voice of the comrades right there. I don't know if you've lost it, but we are not trying to encourage a society where it's demonstration oriented or driven for some things to be had. It's the other way around. Now there are lecturers striking, students going home. What's the status of the students who've gone home? Will the semester continue from where it was? Remember, it has been disrupted initially by the COVID-19 pandemic. Are they coming back to continue from where they left? And will that make them sit in Moi University for 10 or so years?
Yes, Mr. Cleophas, even before we get to the resumption, because that still at this moment, there's some light, but not yet that evident that students are going to go back. So before we get to that point of discussion of the long-term repercussion that's going to have on the students, actually, let me just briefly just discuss about on the short-term impact. At this moment,
Yes.
there are some students who are still wandering around. They are still on their way trying to reach wherever they're going, that is home for this matter. But it's so unfortunate because, this thing came as it came as a big shock to the students. Some weeks prior, actually, a memo was given out by the school requiring the students to register and ensure that their fees are fully paid. Only 2 weeks later, to find that you're being sent home abruptly. And now you find that most of the students up to this date, they struggle on the day-to-day survival. Most of the students, you'll find that once they have their breakfast and lunch, they don't know. It's not a surety that they're going to have supper. Now the university comes in and asks them to go home, whereby if you find someone leaving all the way, maybe northern parts of Kenya, or going all the way to the coast, or to the south coast, or going to the eastern and northern and southeastern, southwestern, you find that they incur a lot of costs, of which was totally uncalled for. So that is in line with the short term. As far as the long term, now this is actually something that it really pains us as students in discussing such matters, because the agreement that we signed up with the university is if it's a 4-year course, by the end of 4 years, you should be out of that university with your graduation and with your degree, that is. If your course is meant to be 5 years, you expect it to be 5 years. But you find that, first of all, we have these long holidays, which by default give you an extra year. And then 2, comes Corona. Corona came in, it added another year. So those are 2. And now the lecturers are striking, adding us, we don't know how long, it could be months, it could be years. So it's keeping us in a very anxious state. We don't know what's going to happen next.
It's right. It's right to some extent when you say you are student leaders and you're also in the shoes of the students. That makes you that leader who is also responsible to feel the pain other students are going through. Remember, currently, more university students are not cooking in their hostels because of the reasons well known for the past 3 years. And there are those who can't afford the food that is being sold outside. And the university are the reason for that. I know you are not in office by then, but currently that's the situation. And these students that we're talking about went home. The current state in the university makes it very difficult and expensive for that child who just qualified for the university entry without having so much money to spend in campus, only depending on help. How have you tried within your means as the MUSO, the University Students' Council, to help such students? Right now, we know there are those who can't go back home because of their conditions, and we
Mhm.
know there are those who are still in the university. And we've said libraries are closed, there are no cooks, to mean the mess is closed. Uh,
Mhm.
what what are you putting in place to comfort such students, or should they just go home?
Actually, it's not a matter of choice as how the university puts it out there, because the hostels and the residing places have all been closed. So students didn't have an option even to stay within the university. So the means that we as leaders tried to come in and try to sort this type of situation was in trying and linking up the various students with their various class reps, and then amongst the students, the classmates, that is the cosmates, because we have some students usually reside outside the hostel. So we tried and link them up. Those who are able to take in some of their colleagues to host them for a couple few days. And you know how hard that is, because you find that in a bed sitter already we have like five or so comrades, and then now they have to stand in for their other colleague. So it is actually, it's been a very chaotic situation. Yeah, it's so really bad. And in line with what you are talking about, how are students actually surviving, given that the university at current moment banned cooking in the hostel, and actually
Yes.
they've been very strict about this because any student who's found cooking in the hostel, like a major decision is made, and it might even amount to some suspension of a couple of years. On our end, trying to reach out to the university to seek the clarification of the situation, is that they say that as it stands, a big chunk of their budget has been slashed by the government, and now they have to try and find all those loopholes where they think that a lot of their money is going to drain. And one of the things that they thought about was matters pertaining the electricity bill, of which we as students don't think that's actually the case, because the university has been able to run for years and student cooking inside the hostels, and people are surviving and graduating with no issues. But then all of a sudden this comes in, and then the university now bans it, of which now it has actually made the situation very tough, very tough for the comrades. Comrades are actually barely surviving in campus right now.
And thanks so much for bringing that out, Mr. Omar. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us live in this discussion, tonight we are engaging the Secretary General or the Students' Voice Box, and that's Mr. Omar, live from Moi University main campus, and is here to shed more light on what has been ailing the university. And Mr. Omar, we would like to make this discussion more uncomfortable even to those people who are watching outside, and we'll just dive deep into it. The problem in Moi University, and it's been all over the media and on social media, and these are statements that are running across the platforms. It's true that across the platforms, it's right, there is leadership problem. Do you think the Mutuetu thing is affecting the university? Remember, a competent VC was removed from the university and replaced by a local. Do you think it has a role to play in this kind of a discussion as a situation that we are in as a country as far as Mo University is concerned?
On my end, actually, first to make things clear is that I don't like dwelling on speculations. But pertaining that matter, on my end, actually, I think matters leadership spiral down to an individual. It spirals down to an individual. How competent you are as an individual. It doesn't matter from along what tribe you come from, or the tone of your skin, or whatever those along those lines that people try to segregate individuals. But on my end, because I'm sure now the university will come in and try to defend itself and say that actually this was a foreseen situation, given that the government had slashed off the budget of the university, and that even the privately sponsored students, which used to be termed as the cash cow of the university, was actually also cut short by the government. So they might be speaking from a point of that their budget is cut down. But on my end, what I can call for is that because I'm sure in one way or another they are going to stand clean on their end. But a few months ago, we even had this message circulating about the EACC calling out our VC for some speculated allegations. So the best way to handle such a situation is that a committee is formed, and then it's able to come and intervene and like check in the matter. Is this the reality, or is actually the VC in the right track? It's only that the government who's failing the VC. So we don't need to speculate, but this is something that actually can be done, and things made to light. Yes.
When we talk of something that needs to be done, Mr. Omar, it's in the public domain, and we know there might have been interferences from the local community. And as you've put it right, there is no one who is coming out clean or needs to say the management of the university has a role to play in it. And so if we come and say, Omar, the current situation that we have is a failure of management. Let's talk of the worst case scenario, Mr. Omar. And you as a student leader, remember these workers and the teaching and non-teaching staff in this university, their parents, and they're paying bills outside there. What if they are kicked out of the university because the university can't cater for their bills? What if they are kicked out? Are you foreseeing such a situation where they complain to the university that they are not being paid, they might be rendered jobless? Then what next after that?
Yeah, actually that's a possibility. That's a very, very big possibility that some staff might be laid off for taking action. I'm sure maybe the university will try to get a justification through a court order, but we are yet to see how it's going to happen. Now, on the other end, in terms of the performance of the university, as I said, now this is whereby actually even yesterday I was talking about this. The government doesn't need to be silent in such situations. They need to rashly come in and see how it is in the ground. Is it that the various speculations going around, are they true? Because we can't base ourselves on speculations. We need to get the facts right, and we don't need to victimize or talk ill of anyone, but we need to be talking on matters, facts. So the only thing that I can say is the minister has to come in at this point in time, because this is such a sad state that our university is being closed and it's not getting the attention that it needs. As I said yesterday, the president himself needs to come out and address this situation as it is. Yes.
Amazing. We are taking this fast break to check on the feedback. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the topic that you've really been waiting for. What's ailing Moi University? Is it Moi University? If you put it on mirror, it will turn the other way around. Why are people crying in that university? From the students to the teaching and non-teaching staff. So join us live in this discussion. Send in your comments live on Facebook. And this is the Alternative Voice. As you watch, remember to subscribe. Click that subscribe button. And if you're on Facebook, remember to follow and also to give us your feedback at the end of this live broadcast.
This is the Alternative Voice by Cleophas, Oluoch.
Yes, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with your comments live on Facebook and YouTube. This is the Alternative Voice, and I'm your host, Cleophas Oluoch. We are diving into it, where you are watching us live from the state of Moi University. Why was the university closed? Why were students sent home? What's happening with the strike? Your questions and comments coming in thick and fast. Are all campuses affected? It means all the universities, all the campuses in Moi University is affected. Some of the questions, Mr. Omar, we'll be answering them as we roll, right? So, are all
Right.
the campuses affected in Moi University?
No, actually, the notice clearly stipulates its main campus that is affected. For the other campuses, they are ongoing. The classes and everything, learning, teaching is ongoing. But I'm sure sooner than later, if this matter doesn't get resolved, then it's going to trickle down even to the subsequent campuses. So it's just a matter of when are they going to shut down.
Interesting. It's a matter of when, because we are just in that trajectory where we'll find other campuses in Moi University also shut. We have Kevin Amzil following the show, tuning from Nairobi, Asante Sana. JL Empire watching from Nairobi, but students also participated in the said strike. Can you justify?
No. Actually, that's not true, because students of Moi University are well civilized. They know what is the exact trajectory to take. So that was actually not true, because no student was actually involved in any way. The only thing that the students did was to reach out to us, trying to find a solution of the matter. And subsequently, we channel it to the university management. So actually, that's not true. The students weren't involved in any form of strike.
When
So
we
that's
talk of
what I'm
students,
saying.
the image on the screen right now, if you can just view it, were these entirely the lecturers, teaching staff, and the non-teaching staff in this image?
Yes. That's for sure. Students might have been only been just spectators, but because this has nothing to do with them. Only that they receive the big hit, the big chunk of the repercussion falls on them. But it actually had no plus for the students, so they wouldn't engage in such an act.
Right. We move swiftly to the next question. We have Best Afro, Prof, tuned. Why is Moi University always on strike? Is it a tribal management? And as we talk about tribal management, we have this question on this other side from Daniel Jaka. It's a bit long, so I'll have to raise my head so that I can read it well. Tuned from Kochi, India, Moi management should be held responsible for all these miseries and strikes. Maybe now the payload is too much for them. They literally removed Professor Iro as the VC, and the majority of Kalenjin fraternity claimed the top position, that the VC was for them. This was the downfall. Now they would rather employ the old clan as Moi workers. The problem comes in when these workers take loans and NHIF, of which is liable to the school. That's the liability. Moi has to pay for them. Large numbers of workers, and he continues, that's the comment on Facebook. Another problem is the leadership. There is no ombudsman to counter-check the productivity, since the head is from the same community. It's an issue. Yes. And at the end, the students are the ones who are suffering. What do you have to say about that? In a minute, then we move to the next comment.
As I said earlier on, we don't need to base on speculations. We actually need to base on facts, and that's why I was calling upon the ministry to come in and ask the current management to step aside, so that this matter is they're able to get down to the bottom of it, because it's a political time now. Mm-hmm.
If I cut you short and I tell you and I ask this question, and
Yes.
I'll just be frank, whatever thing happened in Moi University, having Professor Airo as the VC in an acting capacity for more than 1 year without confirming, then bringing Professor Kosgei to be now the VC of the university, and whether you are in first year or second year, by then you know the difference, and up to now you're speaking of the difference, and now you being the spokesperson of the entire council, it might be difficult for you to come out clean and say what's happening, but we know what's ailing this institution. And from the feedback that we've just received, it's I don't want to put it as clear that it's a tribal management that is killing the university, but it has been turned into a clan or a village university outside there. Do you, at one point, think the university management should step aside and allow an interim team to come in and run the university? What if Moi University gets to a place where it's given to another person to run it all together when the management is away?
Yes, actually, that's what I'm talking about. Because when it reaches a situation whereby the university, like comrades are in the university, always in a state of fear, always in an anxious state, not knowing when they're going to be required to go home, it's unfortunate. And then the university now will come out clear and defend itself. But whenever we have such issues, it's right time that they step aside and allow the investigations to be done, so that a clean report comes out, and then based on the findings that we'll be able to find, then for sure we'll be able to make a conclusion. But as it stands, as of now, it will be just talking ill, but without facts. And I think it's better for us to stick with facts.
Yes, we move on swiftly. Omba Onyimwe. Okay, that's the name. Tribal management, that's what is saying there. Mimi Bree tuned in, and that's true. Anasema hivyo. We have Fred Van. Yes, jina ngumu. Will this semester end as it was planned, and how long will this strike take?
That's actually what I'm talking about. That's the situation we as comrades are in. We don't know when that's going to happen. We can't clearly say, because the worrying part is the WASU and the university management. So as soon as a middle ground is found, they're going to be able to resolve, and we'll be back. But as comrades, we always have to stay hopeful that these things are going to come to. We've suffered so much in this university. So this is also another mountain that we are going to climb and cross over. So let's stay hopeful. We are hopeful as well, we are student leaders. Sooner or later, we are going to be back. Yes, that's what I can say.
Great. Shiroki, Moi University should be handled differently. Tribalism is too much, and the staff are incompetent, just employed on the basis of tribe. There are some comments that we'll just be going through. Thanks, Shiroki, for always tuning in. Two-wheeler dairy. Now you don't have cash cows. Only dogs remaining. Wow. Two-wheeler dairy explorer. No cash cows in terms of PSSP students. That's the privately sponsored student. We have Wycliffe Ogema. The genesis of all these is tribalism and corruption in the institution. Thanks, Buana SG. Students from Moi University are well civilized. Big up, Hilal Timami. Thanks so much. Massivero, imagine sending students home who have paid full school fees and rent. It's sad.
Very unfortunate.
University. Having been and a beneficiary from that university, I have this question. There are those students who are staying in stage, the residences outside the university, having paid the fee, and the parent expects you to be home, and also having paid your rent, a full semester rent in stage, and you have to come back home. Who is going to incur all these costs? Remember, COVID did the worst. People came back to university and had to pay extra. Not extra. They had to pay for every month that they were at home for them to access their houses in stage. How are they going to survive when they come back?
Yeah, actually, that's the sad state of affair. We as a nation, something is wrong. Something is really, really wrong. Because given that a student, parents are out there doing their best, struggling to ensure that their students are in school, hoping that we as the comrades, once we are done with the university, are going to be the elements of change. We are going to be able to change the situation of our backgrounds, where we come from. But now when you find that with their discussions of the university wanting to triple the fees, there are situations whereby the help fails to disburse the money on time, then this actually is actually a failure for us as a nation. It's a big failure for us as a nation. And it's making it very hard for us to survive. It's difficult. It's difficult to make ends meet as it is currently. And then with all this burden, it's making the matters worse. So we as a nation actually need to sit and re-strategize and see where we're going wrong. What do we need to do to make sure that we get this matter in hand before we lose it all? That's what I can say.
Interesting. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are, please subscribe on this YouTube channel. That's the Alternative Voice. Just click on that subscribe button, and also remember to click on the notification bell so that next time we go live with our guest, we'll be here to talk more about the issues that concern you. Tonight, we're talking to this SG, Moi University Students Organizations, that's MUSO, Mr. Omar Mohamed, live from Moi University. And we still have comments. JK, Omar, you are talking well. And that's, we are here. We are here with Omar. Thanks, AG, that's Hilal. We had gone through that. And I want to take a quick run on your feedback on YouTube. We have Hilal Tumaini, Weekly for Gamer. The genesis of this is tribalism. Vincent Tarus, tribalism is a problem. If you can have that comment from Vincent Tarus on the screen. We have Vincent Tarus here. Tribalism is a problem, but not the main problem. Poor administration is the position in the yolk. So is the poison in the yolk. Brian Mullis, Akeno, following the show. Asante Sana. Don Oyogi, yes, an interim team will be a best solution to serve Moi University. The issue brought an uproar even on, and it was even on media and was intervened by leaders. And I think the same should be brought back. And we have your feedback here. We have Kevin Fault Negaga. Tribalism is killing this institution. It's high time the Ministry of Education to intervene. Kennedy Kungu, sad state of Moi University. It has happened before, many times, especially at that's the College of Health Sciences campus. If management is not changed, it's turning situation critical. Kabisa. Asante sana. We have Kiplagat Lawrence. More university administrators should be called to the Ministry of Education and caned properly. How do they punish students with impromptu closure of school after students paying fees? That's another pain thing that we want to hear also from those who are on strike. I want us to go and hear this mama from Moi University putting out her cries and concern. Let's watch.
Naenda achunga sheria, asikuje kuchunga mwana Kenya kama mimi mwenye nalia mnyonge ya binadamu. President wetu, ninakuomba baba, ninakuomba nikinyenyekea. Mimi ni mama mnyonge na nalia sauti ya wa Moi University wote, viongozi wa Moi University wote, wanakudhea, wana uwaso, wana kusu. Tunalia ni kwa sababu kuna wenye watutumwa.
That's a parent. That's a worker of Moi University. They're talking and appealing to the president to take action. We'll be coming back with your closing remarks on this matter before we hit the 40-minute hour. Then we have the following comments still to wrap up the show tonight. The government should come in and save the university from individuals who run this as a village cow deep. And that's deep. Best star prof, good representation, Mr. SG. Anasema hivyo. Steve, IT personnel, is it possible to get a new VC? And if, how long would be the process? How long would that be? When we go to the worst case scenario, Mr. Omar, how long could that be to take to get a new VC for the university?
To be honest, in that matters, it's going to take quite some time, given that the previous appointment had a lot of concerns that came in. So they'll actually need to be very careful this time round when doing it. So this actually is going to take quite some time, which I can't actually give a definite time.
Great. It's not definite, and we have Kiplagat Lawrence. This institution is wasting our 20s. Corrupt administrators should be held accountable, and that's from Kiplagat Lawrence. Thanks so much. And we also have one question. That's Omba Unyimwe. Managing a university needs papers and exposure, not personality. Aha. Alsen Shicheti following. Asante sana. And we have Grid is running the country. Siasa mbaya, masomo mabaya, maisha mabaya. Bashir Wesonga following up the show live from on YouTube. Ivy Wanjiru, noma. Moi ni chuo ya utoto. Unachop miaka mingi, unadhania unadunga kostano. Haya, maoni yake hayo Ivy Wanjiru. Asante sana Ivy Wanjiru kwa kuungana nasi hapo Facebook na YouTube. Freak hapo tulishapitia. Kuna swali kutoka Festus Owiti. You are not in office, but while there, ask him, what efforts have they put to sensitize students about voter registration? We are almost coming to an end next week. What have you done as a student leader? And now that they are home, these are the people who should be pushed to take the voter registration cards and to go and register. What have you done to sensitize on such moves?
Actually, we've been doing quite well because we linked up with the IBC, and a week back, actually 10 days, we were able to officially launch the official registration within Moi University. And a good number of comrades, particularly the first years, were able to get their voters card. And for the other campuses across, we've been having the IBC officials visiting the various campuses. Like currently in CHS, they've been there for like 3 days, even in Annex and Nairobi and Mombasa. And now, given that the students are going home, they are also able to partake in this democratic exercise by going to their various constituencies, and they'll be able to get that. So we've actually been able to sensitize also through the social media platforms, creating the various posters, circulating, mobilizing through the various student leaders and class reps, and we've actually been getting a good response.
Great. Peter Obson. Yes, and it will be great if the interim team comes in so that to run the institution for some period as the investigations are undertaken. Students are spending much time in Moi University. A 4-year course, you take up to 6 to 7 years. And some of you watching are victims to that circumstance. Billy Wanjala, tribalism is the main issue in Moi. The institution is greatly facing high level of corruption. Felix Odoyo, Mr. SG, what will be your take if they decide to hike the fee now? I think that's what it means, to cater for the expense for the students, for the teaching and non-teaching staff. Tell us, kama kiongozi wetu, what will be your take if such is done?
That's actually something that that's something that we will not accept, we as students, because with the current situations, it's already a very difficult situation for most of the comrades and most of the parents. So this is something that we will actually have to face it head on and make sure that it doesn't get to be actualized. And if so, it means if having go to take the injunctions of the courts, then we'll be more than willing to do that, because we've seen some goodwill also in a couple of members, some members of parliament who stood with the comrades in ensuring that this ill motive of various university administrations across Kenya did not come into fruition. So those are the channels that we're going to follow.
Great. Sheila is saying, I just want the entire administration to be wiped out. Yes, that's Sheila joining us live on YouTube. Modern Rogue is following on Facebook. Fiku Nails, Moi University, that's all. Allah. Well said, Mr. Omar. That's prudent. Don Oyugi joining us from Kochi, India. We are almost at the tail end of this discussion, Mr. Omar, and we from the other side of the university, we really wish the situations could be back to normal so that we can be having a university that churns out a 4-year graduate after 4 years, not taking so long doing a course that even after leaving university, you can get a job with. So Thanks so much, and we would like to get your final take on this. Parents are at home with their sons and daughters, and they are there waiting for the communication to be done. How should this be as they wait for the verdict? And your take as the SG of the Moi University Students Organization, the way forward, are you still going to wait for this communication? And what's your word for the parents and students?
My take is to be optimistic, even in this current situation we are in. It's actually a time whereby giving up will be an option, but as comrades never surrender, comrades never give up, comrades never yield to all these tough waves that come along their way. These are what makes us as comrades, and we are hopeful we are going to cross over onto the other side. As far as the current situation with the lecturers out there and with the university closed, it's my belief that sooner than later, the government is going to intervene. And if alternatively they don't, then we are going to be pushing that to ensure that comes into fruition by taking all means possible. Because actually today, if you're following up, we were actually trending on Twitter. So these are some of the channels that with the current state, we as comrades are trying to venture into. And to my fellow comrades, at times when situations seem tough, that's the moment when a solution will be found. Everything happens for the better. Everything happens for the better. So let's remain hopeful. Something good is coming. Thank you very much.
All comrades from Moi University who are still here with us live on this broadcast, the SG is saying there will be light at the end of the tunnel. And there is that hope. There is hope for everything to be seen as successful. We are 44 minutes into this live broadcast, and we have massively, I wouldn't wish to finish the show tonight without getting this comment home. Class of 2020, we paid 7,000 for graduation online. Yes? Vero. Is that even reasonable? What will be the graduation fee for this year? They might hike it. And the graduation fee to get more cash, so corrupt. Abdulaziz well representation. Bwana SG, that's Abdulaziz bin Yusuf, Immaculate Awino, tuned in. Billy Wanjala, asante sana. Some of us just paid for the rent for the whole semester, but now we left. I don't know how this is going to be handled, because we can't just waste our money like this. Ladies and gentlemen, what a way to bring it to an end. Thank you so much for watching. Before you leave, subscribe, like and follow our pages on Facebook at The Alternative Voice, Twitter at The Official TAV, on Instagram at The Alternative Voice, and here on YouTube at The Alternative Voice. Subscribe and follow. Till next time, stay safe, and thanks Mr. Omar and every viewer for honoring our invite this evening to be part of this discussion.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks to the entire Student Governing Council, SGC, led by the chair, and the entire team for allowing us to hold this discussion tonight. And thanks so much. Till next time, let's keep it the alternative voice.
This is The Alternative Voice by Cleophas, Oluoch.